Hi, I'm Wendy Yellen. We're back again for this pack of videos for your well-being and how you can find your calm in this storm. Listen, I know it's really hard for some of you to just sort of sit still and give some time to yourself. And I, to the best of my ability, can promise you that if you will take the time to do this video and do it deeply, you will be so glad you did, because it's going to give you access to something you may not even have known was in you or still in you. This video is really about getting back to yourself. And in order for you to understand just a little bit about yourself from the eidetic point of view, I'm going to explain some things to you which will really help you when we get to the experiential part, which we will be. So, first, what you can expect, I'm going to use my notes so I make sure that I cover everything so you really can get what you need. So today, what we're going to have and what you'll be able to experience is a simple but powerful way to let go of the way you usually, or let's put it this way, let go of the way you are reacting right now to this whole world and local situation. Yes, there are things to be concerned about. And yes, this is our reality right now. In my opinion, we need to get through this time in as good a shape as we possibly can, physically, of course, so we don't want to get crazy panic so that we're overheated and compromising our immune system. We want to get through it physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So at the end of this, you may even be in a better place. That's my hope for you, but certainly to be able to get it through this as easily as we can and as calmly as we can, but without it being a kind of superficial, almost fake calm, but coming from deep inside. So what I've noticed with myself and my clients is that when there's a crisis like right now, we tend to react the way we always react. So if we have an Achilles heel, so to speak, where we're particularly vulnerable, that vulnerability gets kicked up. So if you're someone who's really afraid of dying or really afraid of losing control, then this time will really pull on those parts of you. And while you'll have the fears that we all have, you may also have more fears in those directions. Or, for example, if you're someone that kind of loses track of yourself and maybe you've gotten a better hold of that, but what you may be noticing if you have the time and energy to check is that you're losing track of yourself that much more easily right now. This makes sense. It's like our normal mode of operating, modus operandi, comes in a more powerful way. We're less protected. We're more vulnerable. So you may see your own Achilles heel of vulnerability rising to the fore way more than has been recently. It may really kick it up. Certainly I've noticed that with a lot of people. But the good news is, with an image like today, we really can shift that. So how to explain what filters are from an eidetic point of view, because that's what we're working with today. We see the world through filters. That's not a new idea. What I want you to understand about yourself today is, let's say you're like my father was someone who really had the big picture of life and was very expansive in his thinking. He brought habitat. He powerfully helped to bring Habitat for Humanity to his hometown. So he had very much a visionary, but he had a hard time actually doing steps that would take you from A to Z. Now, I love my father, and I love that part of him. However, if you don't have the steps to take you from A to Z, it's very hard to get to Z. It's great to have the vision, but hard to get to Z. My mom, she could get to Z beautifully, practically, elegantly. But the thing is that she did it with such tightness and over perfectionism that it was really painful to watch. So here I have this mother that could go from A to Z beautifully, but not in a way I wanted to do, and this father who was visionary and expansive, but couldn't get the train to the station. Well, without doing it consciously, I was more drawn to my father's way of doing things. But I needed my mother's way of doing things. And I rejected that unconsciously because of the tight way she was doing it. So my filter there are many aspects of this, but my filter for getting things done is you're going to get it, this is before I did Eidetics, but if you're going to get it done, it has to be done the way my mother did it, which is tight, perfectionistic, and whipping yourself because you're not doing it good enough. Or the other way I had inside of me was like very visionary, but hard to get one foot in front of the other and actually get there, but loving the visionary. So those were kind of the two ways that I would see the world. And when I went in my father's direction, I couldn't accomplish anything well. Or if I tried to go in my mother's direction and actually accomplish something, it would be at great expense to my feeling of perfectionism. It would bring up my perfectionism. So none of that was conscious, but all of that's operating in all of us. The parental filters operate. That's why simply forgiving your parents, so to speak, it doesn't affect these filters because they're inside of us. It doesn't matter if you're, in this respect, it doesn't matter if your parent is living or dead. So those are the filters that we carry with us. Generally, if we're having trouble in an aspect of life, like right now, the negative filters are working, like my mom's perfectionism. My dad's not getting trains to the station. And it's hard to access the positive filters. So I'm going to show you briefly what's probably operating in you right now about all of our world situation and your own specific part in that. And then I'm going to give you some other parts, ways to access other parts of yourself that are also operating that would give you so much more relief. Okay, so to do an eidetic image, it has nothing to do with what's in your head. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you instructions to look at something without controlling it. Probably with your eyes closed would be best. And you're going to see things vague or vivid, could be either way, and you'll feel things, maybe a lot, maybe a little. Whatever you feel is fine. So it's not controlling the image. And you're also experiencing it. So you're not like keeping it at arm's length. And you don't want to just see it, you also want to feel it. You don't want to just feel it. In fact, you don't want to feel first. You want to look first. Critically important. So take a look at yourself in the current situation. So of course you know what you're doing, of course, but I want you actually to see yourself going through your day. Actually let this image start to form in your mind. See yourself, whatever shows up for you. I'll walk you through my image later. See what you're doing See how you're feeling as you're doing it. Are you over busy? Are you full of fear? Just like really notice what's actually happening. Please pause recording during all parts of this so you have plenty of time, because I'm going to go faster than would make sense for you to do, just so you can do it in your timing. So that's the baseline that you just got. Now, put your father in the back of your mind, like a thought. He already is there because I've already said it. Put your father in the back of your mind, and now see yourself going through your day, these days, what's happening now, what you're feeling, how you're addressing things, what you're doing with the news, what you're doing with other people, what you're doing with work, what you're doing with your time. Keeping your father in the back of your mind. He's not in the image. And you're not asking yourself, what would father do? No, that's a different part of the mind. That's a cognitive part. We're going in a deep place. So you see yourself going through your day, but you're keeping the thought of father in the back of your mind. But he's not in the image. Now I want you to watch that for a while. Pause the recording, watch that, and notice what you see and what you feel. Do not control the image with your thoughts. Just watch. Let it show. All right, now that was either better or worse than your baseline. Were you more anxious, more panicked, or were you calmer? Notice that. Make some notes in a notebook right there. Just grab a piece of paper and make some notes if you didn't start one last time. Let that go. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, only this time put your mother in the back of your mind. See yourself going through your day. Watch yourself. What do you see? How are you feeling? Keeping her in the back of your mind. She's not in the image. If she ends up showing up in the image, take her out. She's got to stay in the back of the mind only. And don't try to imagine, like, what would she do? No, this is not that part of the mind. It's a deeper, more wiser part. Pause recording. I'll instruct you one last time on that. See yourself going through your day, how you're relating to things and to people, how you're doing things, and how you're feeling, but keeping mother in the back of your mind, not seeing her in the image. Pause and then come back. All right, so mother was doing things with the mother filter was either easier and better, a little bit or a lot, the same or worse than your baseline. So what you just discovered are the filters that are working inside of you without you even realizing it. Let's say one or both of the filters made things worse. That's probably the filter for you that's operating the most right now. It's not helpful, but there's nothing you can do to control it. We're going to go at it a different way. But it's good to know that it's covering over, that filter is covering over what could be emerging from you. It's like the crust of your history over the real you. So let's say, I'm going to assume that both were negative, although one of them may have been more positive. So keep in mind which is negative, which is positive. Make a note about that. Now we're going to go even deeper. So now what you can do this with a number of different ways, but we'll start with one. So pick someone. It could be a beloved grandparent, an iconic figure from religion or from the world stage that you have a lot of connection to, positive connection to. So let's say it could be the Dalai Lama, it could be Oprah Winfrey, it could be Toni Morrison, it could be Ganesh from Hindu mythology. It could be, if this fits with your religion, it could be Jesus or Mary or Buddha or Muhammad. Or nothing to do with religion. As I said, it could be someone, I don't know, someone you super, super respect. But we don't know. We're going to use this person as a filter, but we're going to test it first. I don't know, and you don't know whether this person's filter will help you in our situation right now. They may be someone you love dearly and who is a magnificent person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that as a filter they'll bring the aspects of calm to you that you need right now, and centeredness and groundedness, getting back to yourself. So we're going to try. If the first one doesn't work, then just try the second or the third. All right, so for this one, see yourself going through your day, relating to people, to work, to COVID-19, to the news, to the government, to everything that's to health, everything that's going on. But this time, see that person or iconic figure in the image with you. This time, they're there with you. From grandparent to the Dalai Lama and everywhere, anywhere in between. So just see that person there with you. You want to, and notice what you see in the image now. How are you interacting with yourself, with others, with the situation when that individual is there? You want to use your eyes to see and then notice how that affects you. How it affects you, especially in the image. Like what's happening to you in the image. Pause the recording. Give yourself at least 90 seconds here. What do I see? What do I feel? Those are the two questions to ask yourself. What do I see? What do I feel? Now when you come back, if that didn't help a lot, or if it didn't help to a certain degree, then try someone else. And note what happens if you're in your image. If this starts to bring you down, I'm doing this very quickly. You want to give this a couple minutes, 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, that's plenty. If you start to ratchet down, if you see in the image that you're breathing differently, like yesterday when I was doing this with a client and we actually saw a different image of her father, instead of feeling so decentered and discombobulated in herself, immediately she started to breathe deeper and noticing her shoulders relax. She said, Wendy, I didn't even realize how tense I was. Then we brought in, I think 3 or 4 different filters. Ganesh is one she's going to try later. If you know Ganesh, he's a great one to try. For me, I have been working with a couple of my eidetic images. For me, one of my images is Solomon and also Hanuman from Hindu mythology. And when I look at Hanuman with his chest open and Ram is inside his chest, which for him is the supreme reality, and I feel my whole being filled with a larger perspective, with larger even than love, with compassion, with depth, with centeredness. It just rushes straight into me when I see him. But I've been working with him for a long time, and with Solomon. They both give me different things. So my suggestion for you is that you find a filter or filters that are positive for you, and then you connect to them throughout the day. You go back and you see that image in your mind. You see yourself there in your day with that image. And you watch it for 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Just that much will make a difference. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you see? What do you feel? Forget meaning, forget metaphor, forget symbolism. Those are of a completely different level than the level we're going to here. Make notes about what happens. And just so you know, in a future video, probably the next one, what I'm going to do is work with help for those of you who are living 24/7 with people who you love but normally get a break from. And I've got a couple things that'll really help with that, but you'll also decrease fear. All right, see you on the next video.